What up, here, everybody? It's your boy DFS Up North, aka Josh Thomas, here with another DFS Army NFL podcast. Today, this is our 10 under 10 week 2 podcast. Talk a little bit about last week here in a minute. And before we get into week 2, where there are some outstanding leverage plays because everybody sort of overreacts to week 1. So we're going to get into week 2. But before we do that, big shout out to Rotom Wash winning $1 million last week. Insane. I don't know what to say. Guy's been grinding for a long time DFS Army sub. I know he subs some other sites too. Really big shout out to him for making $1 million. Like, I can't even imagine, guys. Like, I can't even imagine $1 million is insane. And then let's scroll down here because I'm pretty sure we got another one. We are on like way old posts here. We've got another 59K winner. Let me see if I can find the screen grab here. Let's switch back to this while we're doing this. But yeah, another guy won 59K on Thursday night showdown. If you are not a DFS Army sub, I do the cheat sheets for all of those as well. And you know, huge ups to oh my gosh, I can't even remember who it was right now, but 59K is insane. It was a chop for the millie, which, you know, it happens. But it was a huge win for him there to use that Tucker Craft captain call that I made. So pretty excited about that. Let's rewind, though, before we get to this week's 10 under 10. Again, this is free on site. You get access to this if you are a DFS Army sub. If you are not a DFS Army sub, you can use that code Millie, gets you 20% off. But last week, the good, the bad, the ugly. All right, the ugly. On this podcast last week, I said Joe Flacco throwing the ball to Michael Pittman Jr. and Josh Downs. Now, Colts had a great week. Joe Flacco was not throwing the ball to them. My brain got just absolutely, because I know I rewatched the pod later. I talked about Flacco to Judy. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. I had a brain fart. I apologize. I got ripped in the comments for it. Totally deserved. Good thing that this is free. You guys aren't paying for that. My notes were right, but I had a brain fart and I, had Joe Flacco instead of Daniel Jones going out there. So if I do that again, like, feel free, flame me in the comments. I gotta be better than that. But yeah, Flacco, not so great last week. Browns, not so great. Jerome Ford, not so great. Now, we did hit guys like Travis Etienne Jr. last week in this article who had a fantastic week. We had a lot of serviceable guys. Hunter Henry was fine. The Cortland Sutton was pretty good. Bo Nix didn't kill you. But we are coming back in week 2 with a vengeance and ready to really get after it here. We're going to start on DraftKings today. Last week we started on FanDuel. And we are going to talk first about our quarterbacks, and we're going to talk about Patrick Mahomes. All right. Now, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I'm not a Patrick Mahomes guy. I'm not. It is definitely not who I am. That's not me. All right. But this is I believe this is the third game in his career that he's a home dog. And at 4.33% ownership, 46 game total against the Eagles, a game that I think can potentially sort of pop off. I'm going there this week, guys. I'm going to Mahomes, and I never play Mahomes in DFS. All right. Threw Hollywood Brown the ball 16 times last week. That's insane. All right. That's insane. The Eagles are going to score. They're going to score. I mean, we know that. This Chiefs D is good. It's not great. I think this game goes way over the total of 46 here. We can see the team total at 22. Xavier Worthy is, I don't understand. I don't have a medical degree. I'm a gym teacher. I do have some anatomy background. I'm a personal trainer, CSCS, strength conditioning coach. But I guess I don't understand how you dislocate your shoulder and, like, I separated my shoulder and now I'm going to play this week. It's insane. I watched my practice say, use that shoulder, caught a ball, one hand. Like, it's insane. So Worthy's going to play apparently. Fine. Worthy, Hollywood Brown. The guy that I'm interested in here as a super cheap option to help you fit some more expensive plays this week is a Juju Smith-Schuster operating out of the slot. We saw CeeDee Lamb. I get it. CeeDee Lamb, Juju Smith-Schuster, not the same person, but we saw Juju CeeDee Lamb, have some success in the slot against the Eagles last week. But I like Mahomes. I think that he puts up a big score here. I think he goes for over 300 yards easily. They're going to be playing from behind. You can stack him up with, even though we saw Xavier Worthy catch a ball with one hand today with his broken shoulder, I am going to likely not have a ton of Worthy here unless the ownership is so low Sunday morning that I go, got to get involved here. But otherwise, Juju, Hollywood, even Kelsey, I think is a good option this week. I am going to be rocking some Patrick Mahomes some Patrick Mahomes lineups here. Tons of different guys that you can run it back with from the Eagles. I will say one thing. People are going to go nuts on the Eagles with Grant Calcaterra this week with Dallas Goedert out. Don't do it. There are better cheap tight end options. I'm going to give you a couple of them. I get that like the salary savings are there. I would much rather play a cheap Juju in a lineup or somebody like that than a Grant Calcaterra at tight end, who his ceiling, I think, is like 3 catches and 20 yards. Maybe he falls in the end zone, but Grant Calcaterra is not going to have the usage or just the upside that somebody like Dallas Goedert is. Like, that's just not realistic. All right. So love some Patrick Mahomes this week. Loves those Chiefs sacks. Love the run backs. All that. We're in on the Chiefs this week, as much as it hurts me to say, even though I don't even like even though my 8-year-old is a big Chiefs fan, Chiefs golf towel that I had to buy him for his birthday. At least it's not the Packers, right? Diehard Vikings fan here. We'll have the showdown breakdown for you. That's another thing, guys. Showdown breakdown Sunday. If you want my cheat sheet, things like that, you got to become a DFS Army VIP. I'll have the video out Sunday afternoon, but the cheat sheet should be out tomorrow afternoon or sometime around there. Speaking of not overreacting to week 1, Jared Goff, Detroit Lions. They're fine. They're fine. The Packers we saw it again last night. The Packers are a very, very good defense. All right. They struggled in Lambeau. All right. Now they get to go home at Ford Field and play against the Bears. Like, the Lions are fine. They're being massively underrated this week, under-touted. Nobody's talking about them. I love the Lions. Look, we knew that this new era, like John Morton, Calvin Shepard at DC, there's going to be a bumpy start. We expected that to an extent. The offense is going to be okay. All right. The defense, I'm a little more iffy on. But I love the offense here. Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, just like run it, right? You could throw Laporta in. I do think the Bears do a pretty good job in the middle of the field. We saw that last week with TJ Hawkinson not doing much for my Vikings. I mean, obviously, JJ struggled for about 3.5 quarters, but I don't know that you necessarily need to run it back with anyone in this sort of lineup. But I will say, we'll talk about him on the FanDuel side, I think, but I love Roma Dunze this week, even with DJ Moore potentially playing. Again, another guy who like took a big shot is going to be fine. All right. So, I am in, I guess, on Jared Goff this week. And Jared Goff is a play for me on both websites. All right. So both DraftKings and FanDuel. All right. We're going to keep going on DraftKings here. Let's talk about some running back options right back to the well with Travis Etienne Jr. He crushed last week. They somehow traded Tank Bigsby to the Eagles. I don't understand that play. I get that they have a crowded backfield with Jay Bayshaw, Tootin, and I don't even remember the other guy's name is, but they don't matter because this is the Travis Etienne show, guys. The Bengals did burn me a little bit last week with Ford. But the price is right, the matchup's right. Like, it just makes so much sense here with Travis Etienne. I'm a little shocked he's not chalkier than he is, if I'm being 100% honest with you guys. I thought that we would see Travis Etienne be well over 10%, and he could be. All right. We talk a little bit about this in the DFS Discord that we have again for our DFS Army VIPs, but it's players tend to come out as big time chalk right away. And then we see everybody hit the panic button. Ownership goes down. All of a sudden, Sunday, you're looking at ownership and you're going, dude, if I knew Travis Etienne was going to be 6% owned, I would have played him, right? I would have played 20%. Or the opposite of, oh my, what happened here? Everybody was on so-and-so, Jahmyr Gibbs, and now he's 8% owned, and Travis Etienne is 20% owned. Right, that's something that we do talk quite a bit about, and our projections, I think, do a nice job here at DFS Army. So you're gonna want to become a VIP, whether it's here or there. I don't care where you go, but just something to pay attention to when you are building lineups. That, hey, we can see some pretty big ownership swings, especially guys that are chalk at the beginning of the week. But Etienne's the guy here. I think that's a pretty good matchup against the Bengals. Like I said, their new D coordinator, I think, looks okay. They did a good job against the Browns last week, but like I said, Etienne looked really strong. He had, I think, 4 carries over 10 yards. Really good week against the Panthers last week, and I'm going to go back to him here before he becomes that mega chalk, which I expect to see very, very soon here. Another guy that I don't expect to be mega chalk anytime soon, and really literally might be his last chance to really get something going here, is Dylan Sampson. I was all over Jerome Ford last week. I'm ready to get burned by another Browns running back. Sampson was the guy that burned me last week, right? Jerome Ford was in a great spot against the Bengals, and Dylan Sampson was, like I said in here, my turd in the punch bowl, right? Rained on my parade. Caught 8 passes. 8 passes. That's why he's a great DraftKings play. The price is insane. The ownership is going to be sub 2%. Like, I get that it's the Ravens here. The passing upside just makes him an elite play. He's super cheap. What do we got here on the price tag on Dylan Sampson? I want to say it's like, what? Yeah, 5,200. Again, I don't understand the Travis Etienne ownership at that price tag. It makes absolutely no sense to me. 5,700. He's going to be a guy that I'm going to be massively overweight on. Let's get to my wide receivers on the DraftKings side. Remember, we're talking about DraftKings now. FanDuel, a couple minutes here. If you are watching this back later, you should be able to see the timestamps that can move you on if you're a FanDuel only player. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, we talked about the Lions and that the Lions guys are okay. They are fine. All right. I'm a big believer in the bounce back here. I think that he has 25 plus point upside on DraftKings, and is somebody that I'm going to be massively, again, like I said, overweight here. The Bears dealing with some injuries. I think they get Jalen Johnson back. I'm not sure Fuller gets back in there this week. But yeah, at Ford on the turf, like, there is a massive upside here for my guy, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's the guy that's climbing towards that 10% number. I think he might get there. But again, I'm playing 20, 30, maybe even 40% Amon-Ra St. Brown this week. I am all over him. We are going back to the well with Cortland Sutton. All right. He's just a touchdown machine. He's a touchdown machine. The Colts look great against the Dolphins. They're dealing with some injuries, especially in their secondary. I think that this is a smash spot for all Broncos here. I think you can go back to the Bo Nix train. We played him last week. But yeah, I'm a high on Sutton. He's going to get his. He's going to get in the end zone. He's got great body control in the red zone. I love that. Another guy we talked about a ton here, Juju Smith-Schuster. Xavier Worthy is apparently practicing again. Like I said, they say Andy Reid did come out and say there's a slim chance. I feel like that's coach speak. I think he probably is active. But I do think that Juju is the guy here. Everyone's going to play Hollywood Brown. We get that little correlated leverage with Juju Smith-Schuster, meaning that if Juju has a big day, maybe Brown doesn't. Love that in GPP. All right. I think this game pops off. I think that Juju is the play. Looking at tight end, right. Again, early in the year here, if you see things with guys, I think you have to go right back to them. I'm going to be pot committed on Hunter Henry this year. I think he's one of the best tight ends in the league. Drake May loves him. He's a legitimate red zone threat. Uses him as safety blanket. I think he could smash here at low ownership. The projections love him. And like I said, at $4,000, mega cheap. Going against the Miami team that got absolutely torched by Tyler Warren and the Colts last week. So Hunter Henry, great tight end play. We're projecting him for about 9.3 points. I think we end up around that 14 number would be ideal for me. Jonnu Smith scored a rushing touchdown last week. Not often you see the tight end get in there on the rushing touchdown, but Jonnu Smith, I do not think is playing second fiddle to Patrick Freiermuth. Rodgers, showed that they're going to continue to use him in a variety of situations, pass him the ball. He is a legit pass catching, legit red zone threat. He's a stud. He can split out in the slot when he's needed. Now the floor here is low, but a touchdown plus, right, with receptions, things like that, we could see that 13, 14, 15 point range, where at 3,900 we're looking at about 4x, which is awesome value. Down here, I got the defense of the week. All right, my favorite defense of the week, and maybe one of the weirdest turns of events ever. You've got CMC, basically the only healthy 49er. Mac Jones is making the start for the 49ers. George Kittle is out. What I see, Jawan Jennings is maybe dealing with something too. This is a smash spot for the Saints. Like, this is not a good defense, but you're playing Mac Jones. Like, it's an all-day play. It's an all-day play. I like to go with the cheapest viable option at defense. The Saints are 4% owned and 2,500. Just makes so much work in your lineup. They can put up, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. And if Mac Jones is real bad, we're maybe looking at double digits. Awesome. 5, 6, 7x would be, that's that. Now you're talking GPP winner. All right, over to the FanDuel side of things. All right, FanDuel side of things, we've got Jared Goff again. The price is right over here. The ownership might be even lower. And then Danny Dimes, the guy who actually does throw the ball to Michael Pittman Jr., guys. Love him this week. It's a much tougher challenge going up against the Broncos. But, I think that this is a pretty good spot for Danny Dimes. He's legit, right? Spent last year in the Viking system with offensive guru, quarterback whisperer, Kevin O'Connell, Shane Steichen now with the Colts. Like, I've been a Danny Dimes believer since Bobby Wow won a milli with Danny Dimes, maybe 4 years ago. Sterling Shepard, that was a great lineup. Mike Evans had a day, I think he had 3 touchdowns. So shout out to my guy Bobby Wow for winning $1 million back in the day. But Danny Dimes, I think, is I've believed in as a good quarterback. He finally has an offensive line that matches his skill set. Daniel Jones, do not sleep on him this week. 1% owned, 7,200, right? You don't even have to pay that much for him. And now we're going to talk about running backs and my core play of the week. We put out core plays on for our DFS Army VIPs, and Breece Hall is going to be one of them for me this week. Extremely explosive. Playing a Bills D that just got thrashed by Henry. I get that Breece Hall is not Derrick Henry, but 170 yards on 19 carries last week, 2 passes, 38 yards. Braylon Allen is lurking. The staff said they're going to be a 2-headed monster, but in practice, that isn't what happened. I get that Allen got in the end zone last week, but I expect Hall to have, he's going to take off like a rocket ship here at some point, especially if this Jets offense continues to click with the passing game. It just opens up so much for Breece Hall. Justin Fields, it looks great back there. I think that this is a smash spot for Breece Hall, and I think the other side of the ball is good too. All right, and that's why I like James Cook here. I thought he looked solid against the Ravens D, and I said they goes up against a Jets team that gave up a Jonnu Smith TD, right? Dealing with a bit of a hamstring issue shouldn't be a big deal. What's intriguing to me about James Cook is that their usage with him is now including things like the passing game. Ray Davis is sitting there. I get it. Ty Johnson, but James Cook, I thought looked pretty strong last week against a solid Ravens run D. Travis Etienne, smash play, all websites, right? Doesn't matter. 5% owned, 6,700. So he's just priced up a little bit more on FanDuel, which should keep the ownership down more than maybe DraftKings, where I think we could end up seeing him get a little bit chalky. But yeah, love all 3 of those guys this week. And I'm just going to be mixing and matching again with some of the chalk plays at running back, guys like, let's see here. Derrick Henry, Saquon against the Chiefs. I'm not playing much CMC. Jahmyr Gibbs, who got 1,000 pass catches last week again. Devon Achane. I never say it right. I get it. Again, burn me in the comments for that. I don't care. But Miami dealing with some offensive line issues. I'm not going there. What's his face? Chris Brown. Not Chris Brown, Chase Brown, obviously going to be maybe the highest on play again this week. Looking at wide receivers on FanDuel, JSN is this offense for the Seattle Seahawks going to get against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm not scared of the low total here just because of, you see that 39 total, that dark red. Not scared of that because I just think he gets there regardless. JSN is really benefiting from not having DK Metcalf there. He has become Sam Darnold's favorite target. I'm all over whatever. Love the 65.38 DFSA grade. Great option. Shakir, again, another guy that is the offense. He is the guy that Allen is going to when he is in trouble. I think the Jets D are going to be okay. But Michael Carter's been pretty good, but we saw the Steelers have some success again in that slot. Ben Skoranek scored a touchdown last week. Calvin Austin looked fine. And I get that Coleman out-targeted him this week. Coleman is going to be the guy that people talk about and that they go to. Don't be afraid of my guy, Khalil Shakir. Talked about Odunze, how I'm really high on him this week. I get that Moore is probably going to play. I don't necessarily love that, but Odunze, clean route runner, look good. He's going to be the guy that I think Ben Johnson looks at and goes, okay, we have to get him the ball. We saw it with that touchdown pass last week. That was a great play call by the Bears. I think that there is some serious high-end upside for Rome Odunze. And I talked about it earlier. This Lions defense is not as good as I think everybody thinks they are, or as everybody thought they were going to be. Keyshawn Boot, coming off an ankle injury that really hampered him. He was arguably the best wide receiver on a stacked LSU team. He's going to be massively involved in this offense. All right. Like I said, you are going to see Keyshawn or Hunter Henry get the ball here for the Pats. Now he gets to go against Miami, who just got torched by the Colts. We're playing some Keyshawn Boot this week at 1% owned, 5,500, mega cheap on FanDuel. Harold Fannin Jr. Gosh, I feel like I'm talking about a lot of bad teams here, but you know what? These one-off sort of plays are where you got to go in GPPs to take things down. I said it last week. Chalk is chalk for a reason. It's because guys project well and they're in great spots. You should play some chalk, but now we get some differentiators with guys like a Harold Fannin Jr., who was like waiver wire pickup of the century this week and season long, but nobody's playing him. We got 3% owned in FanDuel. He was great. Brought in 8 passes, impressive stuff. He's mega cheap. The upside even against Baltimore isn't like that bad. So while I think there's room for him and David Njoku in this offense, I think that David Njoku might be trade bait at some point, especially if they continue to play Fannin in all these situations and he continues to look good. And then I got a defense on FanDuel too. This is a sneaky D, and that is the Seattle Seahawks. They are a low total game against the Steelers. If you watched any of the game last week, I thought Rodgers looked good. All right. But Rodgers looks 42 or however old he is. His mobility is not there. Teams are going to see that, and they are going to dial up the pressure. Now, can Aaron Rodgers burn you when you dial up the pressure? The answer is absolutely he can. But I think that we are going to see teams really get after him, and now we can see Rodgers take 3, 4, 5, 6, potentially even more sacks every single week. It's going to be kind of open season, I think, on Aaron Rodgers. Now, with that being said, I do think that is a sort of a sneaky upside for some of those Steelers offensive players because we've seen Rodgers burn the rush every single year, of his career. But I think that age is going to start to show here. And the Seahawks, pretty cheap, right? We like a good cheap defense. The ownership's low, 3,300. You can fit a lot of other studs in your lineup. They get a couple of sacks, just guarantee those points. Even if the game goes well over the total, they're likely still hitting value. So that is 10 under 10 this week. I'm crossing my fingers. I don't think I said anybody plays for the wrong team. So hopefully we had no, brain melts this week. I felt like geek there for a little bit, calling guys on different teams, things like that. But hey, again, use that promo code Millie if you are going to become a DFS Army VIP. Hit me up in the Discord when you do at DFS Up North. You can find me. We can chop it up, talk football all weekend long. I will have the Sunday Night Football Showdown cheat sheet up tomorrow. We'll probably have the video up on Sunday as soon as the main slate locks. And be sure to check out all our other content here on DFS Army. I super appreciate it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you can know when we go live, all of that jazz. Cheers, everybody. Have a great week too.